Welcome back. So, if you're looking to build really powerful and reliable systems, you've got to start with a rock solid foundation. And today, we're talking about exactly that, the absolute essential read only tool patterns that let you build safely and with a ton of confidence. Okay, let's just dive right into the core philosophy here. This one idea is everything. Before you even think about creating, updating, or deleting data, you have to master the art of reading it safely. Think of it as the perfect training ground for learning key MCP, or model control presenter, patterns without any of the risk. It's a no-brainer. So why this obsession with starting read-only? I mean, it's not just about being cautious, it's about being smart, being strategic. Let's break down the massive advantages you get by doing this. I mean, the benefits here are just undeniable. First and foremost, you can't break anything, right? Since these tools only read data, the risk is incredibly low. This also means you don't need any complex approval flows, which makes for a much faster user experience. And when things go wrong, and they will, debugging is a breeze because there are no side effects to chase down. And because they're naturally idempotent, which just means you can run them over and over without changing a thing, it's the ultimate safe space to learn and build your confidence. All right, now for the blueprints. We're going to break down the 4 fundamental patterns that you will use constantly. Seriously, think of these as the primary building blocks for pretty much any data viewing tool you can possibly imagine. First up is the list, or you might hear it called the enumerate pattern. This is your go-to for browsing. Anytime you need to show a collection of things, I'm talking files in a folder, a list of support tickets, or all the code repos in your org, this is the pattern you're going to reach for. Now just look at the elegant simplicity of this. With just a few parameters like path, limit, and offset, you can build incredibly powerful and safe browsing capabilities. This right here is the foundation of pagination, which is absolutely essential for preventing your system from getting totally overwhelmed by trying to load a million items at once. Next up, we've got the search pattern. So if the list pattern is for browsing, the search pattern, well, that's for hunting. It's designed to find that one specific needle in a gigantic haystack, using keywords and filters to zero in on exactly what you need. And here, you can really see the power of precision. That required query parameter makes sure you're looking for something specific, while optional filters let you narrow things down by, say, date or category. The top K parameter ensures you get the most relevant results without pulling down the entire database. It is all about targeted, efficient data retrieval. Let's keep moving. So after you've listed or searched for an item, you'll probably want to see all the details, right? That's where the fetch or read pattern comes into play. It's the most direct tool in our entire kit. The key here is just how direct it is. You give it a unique identifier, like a file path or a record ID, and you get everything about that one item back. Simple as that. There's no ambiguity. It's basically the digital equivalent of pulling a single book off a library shelf to read it cover to cover. And finally, our 4th pattern, aggregate or summarize. This is where you zoom out from all those individual items to see the big picture. This pattern doesn't give you back raw data. It gives you insights by computing statistics over that data. You know, this pattern is the engine behind every single dashboard you've ever seen. By specifying a metric like sales and a time range like a week, you can generate these high-level reports and analytics on the fly. It literally transforms thousands of data points into a single understandable number. Okay, so you know the 4 patterns, but look, just knowing the blueprint isn't enough. You have to build with the right materials and the right techniques to make sure your tools are truly rock solid, secure, and performant. Let this sink in for a second. It is a really common mistake to think that if a tool is read-only, it's automatically safe. That is dangerously false. Reading data can still expose sensitive information or create huge vulnerabilities if you're not careful. Here's a classic example, query injection. On the left, we're just pasting the user's query directly into our SQL statement. This is a massive security hole. On the right, though, we use what are called parameterized queries. The database treats the user input as data, not as code it's supposed to execute. This is non-negotiable. You have to do it this way. And another major risk is path traversal. The high-risk example on the left just blindly trusts the user's input. An attacker could put in something like ../etc/password to read sensitive system files. The safe practice is so simple but so powerful. You just validate the path to make sure it doesn't contain those traversal characters like .. Okay, so beyond security, performance is critical. A slow tool is a useless tool, right? First, use caching for expensive operations that don't change very often, like listing your code repositories. Second, always implement pagination with sensible limits to avoid overloading your system. And third, handle timeouts gracefully. If a query takes too long, don't just crash, return a helpful message to the user. So here's the bottom line. Use this checklist before you ship any tool. Think of it as your pre-flight inspection. Does it have pagination? Is it secure against injection? Does it handle timeouts? If you can check off all these boxes, you know you've built something truly robust.
Theory is great and all, but let's make this real. How do you go from watching this to building your very first production-ready, read-only tool? Let's walk through the exact steps.
Here is your action plan. Start simple. Just pick one data source. Implement that list pattern first, and make sure you get pagination right. Then layer on search and fetch. Now the most important step here is number 5. Test everything, especially those tricky edge cases. Once you're confident, deploy it and watch how it gets used. And here is how it all comes together in practice. For a simple file server, your list files tool handles the browsing. Your search files tool helps users find what they need. And read file is your fetch pattern to get the actual contents. You might even add another fetch-like tool, say get file info, to just get the metadata. See how the patterns map directly to real-world features? Wow, we've covered a lot of ground, from high-level patterns all the way down to low-level security checks. Let's bring it all home and talk about why this is so much more than just a starting point. This right here is the key takeaway. By mastering these safe, idempotent, read-only patterns, you are internalizing the principles of security, performance, and robust design. You're building that muscle memory you'll need when the stakes get way higher with tools that can actually modify data. You've learned how to lay the perfect foundation. It's secure, it's efficient, it's reliable. So the only question left is, what are you going to build on it? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.